Say hello to the big, beautiful morning. This is the Summer Morning Buzz, the Monday edition. I am your host, Kyle Pepitone, joined today with my co host, Patrina Geiger, and our sportscaster, Campbell Donovan. How is everybody doing this morning?
I'm very good, Kyle.
We are back here on the Monday Morning Buzz. Like I said, I am your host, Kyle Pepitone, joined with Patrina Geiger and Campbell Donovan. So, we've got a show for you today. I mean, why else would we be here? But unfortunately, our newscaster, Crystal, could not make it today. So, in her place will be the one and only me. Here we go. In local news, according to NJ.com, a man was struck and fatally injured by a car in Atlantic County. 54-year-old Hector Salgado was loading a truck when he was hit by a Honda Civic. Currently, no charges were pressed against the driver, and the incident is still under investigation. In more national news, according to AP News, 5 days after a condo building in Florida collapsed, rescue workers and families are still hopeful that many survivors can still be found. Currently, 9 people are confirmed dead and over 150 are still missing. U.S. Rep. U.S. Republican Debbie Wasserman Schultz said, "We obviously have some realism that we're dealing with. As long as the experts that we trust telling us that we have hope to find people who might have been able to survive, then we will have to make sure that we hold on to that hope." End quote. And in good news from the Good News Network, last month Jonathan Bauer leapt 25 feet into the Assawoman Bay to save a toddler after a car crash. This month, he is being honored by the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds acrobatic jet team. The Thunderbirds official Instagram account stated, quote, "Jonathan Bauer is our hometown hero for the Ocean City Air Show. His selfless acts show the best America has to offer, and we're proud to have honored him with a flight today." End quote. And for weather in Montclair, it is currently 77 degrees, and we're looking at a high of 93 degrees. But it gets worse because tomorrow we're looking at a high of 97 degrees with absolutely no chance of rain. So good luck, everybody. But that concludes your 9 a.m. newscast here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. And now I'm going to throw it over to Campbell for the Sportscast. Campbell, what is going on in the world of sports?
Thank you, Kyle. It is now time for the 2-minute warning here on 90.3 WMC Upper Montclair, the voice of Montclair State University. In baseball, the Yankees were swept again by the Boston Red Sox, falling 9-2. Boston had a total of 4 home runs in the game, and the only scoring was from a monster 2-run shot from Aaron Judge in the 6th inning. The Bronx Bombers are 6.5 back from the AL East Division lead, and the Yankees head home to face Shohei Ohtani and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. The Mets couldn't stop former Met Zach Wheeler as he went 7 full innings with 8 punchouts and a 4-2 win. The Philadelphia Phillies split the series with the Metropolitans, and next up for the Mets, they are off to the nation's capital to face NL East division rival, the Washington Nationals. NBA playoffs now. Chris Middleton and Giannis Antetokounmpo combined for 71 points in a 113-102 win against the Atlanta Hawks in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Trae Young had 35 points for the Hawks. And tonight, the Phoenix Suns look to move on to the NBA Finals and try to defeat the LA Clippers in Game 5. Tip-off scheduled for 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The Portland Trailblazers have signed former NBA champion and current Clippers assistant coach Chauncey Billups to a 5-year deal to become their new head coach. The Stanley Cup Final gets underway tonight between the Montreal Canadiens and the defending champion Tampa Bay Lightning. Game 1 in Tampa, puck drop scheduled for 8 o'clock. The European Championship knockout stage is underway with more exciting matches ahead. During the weekend, Italy beat Austria in extra time, and Denmark shocked Wales with a 4-0 win. Belgium beat defending European champion Portugal 1-0, while Czech Republic shocked and pulled off an upset against 9 men down Netherlands 2-0. Today, Spain takes on Croatia at 12 p.m., while France take on Switzerland at 3. And on this day in sports history, I got 3 for everyone to listen to. The Dream Team, yes, the Dream Team with all the Hall of Famers from the U.S. Olympic team, debuted in 1992 on this very day. And in 1997, the infamous disqualification involving Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield in a rematch where, yes, Tyson bit off a part of Holyfield's ear, causing the disqualification. And also, today is the 5th anniversary of the passing of legendary Tennessee women's head basketball coach Pat Summitt. Summitt at the time had 1,098 wins in the 8 national championships as head coach of the Lady Vols. And that is all for your 2-minute warning today. Kyle, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now let's get into our main story today, as the infrastructure deal is back on track after Biden's reassurances. According to the New York Times, or the Washington Post, I should say, over the weekend, Republican senators expressed concern for the $1.2 trillion plan to rebuild the infrastructure of the United States, saying that it would have enough support to pass the Senate. While one of the two bills the Democratic Party plans to put into law is said to pass through the normal Senate vote, there's a second bill that Democrats are trying to pass, trying to bypass the 60 vote threshold and unanimously enact it. On Thursday, Republicans expressed their concern for the bill a few hours after Biden announced it. Biden also added that he would not sign the bipartisan bill, which is the one the Republicans are expressing concern over, until another bill was passed that included major tax cuts and spending programs. With the Republicans opposed to this plan, Biden issued a statement to clear up confusion, saying, quote, he never meant to threaten a veto, and conceding that Republicans were, another quote, understandably upset. And that is a quote from the article. After which many Republican senators then changed their mind and were back on board. For example, Senator Rob Portman, Republican of Ohio, said, quote, I was very glad to see the president clarify his remarks because it was inconsistent with everything we had been told along the way. I'm glad they've now been delinked and we can move forward with the bipartisan bill that is broadly popular, not just among members of Congress, but the American people, end quote. So, after a bit of concern rising up from the Republican Party, the Biden administration came out and said, sorry, we misspoke, but this is what we really meant to say. We're sorry for any confusion. And now it looks like the Senate is almost all in one boat for this new bipartisan deal. What do you think about that? Because I think anytime we can get the Senate to agree on something, like not butt heads over everything, I think is pretty good. So I'm glad to see that they're back on track. I don't know too much about what this bill means for the American people per se, but to see them, and this is going to sound like they're a bunch of children at a playground, but to see them getting along is good news to me.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like this bill is to rebuild. It says to rebuild the nation's infrastructure. Right. I'm guessing like some important things are going to be like some important buildings and whatnot. They're going to be like, I guess, redone, and like maybe new things will come along the way, which we'll maybe be surprised with. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing that, the Senate is on the good side of this, but
right.
$1.2 trillion bill. I mean, that's
it's quite a lot. Yeah,
I know. And it's crazy because it's like Biden was like, oh wait, yeah, it was like whoever you said that they think it would be enough, and it's like when you think about that, it's like they think it would be enough.
Right. Yeah.
1.2 trillion. Is it enough?
Exactly.
But
it is a lot. And I don't know if we'll get to this later, but if we do, Jeff Bezos is only worth like $199 billion with a B. This bill cost 1.2 trillion with a TR. I cannot do the math of how much more that is, so I'm just going to say a lot. So for perspective, this is way more money than even the richest man in the world right now.
Right. Now, I just want to say that, well, if we're comparing, if we want to put people more into perspective,
Right.
and we're comparing a million to a billion, if you were to lose $1 every second, with $1 million, you'd be broke, or like you'd not have the money anymore in like a few weeks.
Right.
And so if you lost $1 every second, if you had $1 billion, that would last like 30 years or so.
Yeah, 37 years. It's some, I forget the exact calculations, but
Yeah,
you're right. It's like a million seconds is a few weeks. A billion seconds is 30 years.
Yeah, so thinking about that, all that money that they're probably putting into whatever they want to do, building infrastructure and whatnot, and
Right.
it's hopefully it's something for good and something we need, you know?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it is a lot. And it's depending on what the money is going towards, I can understand both sides. Like, I can understand why the Republicans expressed concern for such a exorbitant amount of money, if that is a word. But I can also, if it is truly going to like rebuild everything, especially after COVID, because let's be honest, 2020 was nobody's favorite year. And we all went through a lot, and we really do need to rebuild, not just physically, but in like a social sense, community, stuff like that. So if that's what all the money is going to, then like I can understand why everybody's on board. But it really depends on like the fine print of what this bill really says. At least to me, it does.
Right, exactly. Like, I mean, it's fair that the Republicans are like concerned about it,
Yeah,
just
skeptical
because
and
it's
stuff.
like something you don't really know anything about. It's like, what is this going towards? Am I gonna even like it? Like, it's something that like nobody really knows what they're gonna do, and so it's just hopefully it's something that we're all gonna enjoy, and that'll help us something next step up.
Definitely. Campbell, do you have any input on this? Any thoughts?
Well, first off, I will definitely say that is a lot of money, but
Yes.
it's good to see that like both sides are like kind of like agreeing to something. I guess you would say, because like normally like one side would be arguing about something, the other side would be like I don't know, but
Right,
it's
yeah.
good to see the Senate and both sides, I guess. I mean, come to an agreement or whatnot, or good that like one side's asking for more clarification of what the other's idea was and
Right.
being entailed, because I mean sometimes ideas are not vilified and there's not enough like mention of further detail, and that's why sometimes stuff gets pushed aside or not mentioned as much. But it's good that like both sides are sort of agreeing to something to help build the country.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like even after the whole like the two parties are split. There's like a fine line between Democrats and Republicans. So to see an agreement of any sort, I think is a good sign, and maybe we can see some more bipartisanship in the future.
Right. It is good it's actually like refreshing to see like, Republicans and Democrats for once like kind of agreeing on something.
Right.
Not necessarily like fully, but like, like hopefully we're one step closer to like agreeing on something together.
Yeah. And based on at least from what I read in the article, it sounded like it was handled very well. Like so Biden announced this ban. Republicans were like, yeah, we're not too sure about this. And then the Biden administration's like, okay, wait. Sorry. This is what it really means. We didn't mean it like that. We meant it like this. And the Republicans went, oh, okay, that makes sense. And now they're agreed. It's not like people, at least, like I said, at least from what I read, and this is my opinion kind of, but it's not like they were like firing, not literally firing, but like calling out each other back and forth on like social media or the news or whatever. From the article I read, it seems like it was handled maturely, and like I said, it's going to make the Senate sound like they're a bunch of kids on the playground, but that's the best analogy I can come up with right now.
Yeah. No, yeah, I got you. Like I hopefully it's like something that, they both can like agree on, and like,
Right.
something that they're just actually create peace over.
Right. And speaking of something we can all agree on, mosquitoes are bad. Patrina, take it away, please.
All right. So this year, New Jersey may be having a bad year with mosquitoes. Bug experts say that depending on where you live and the rain and other factors and how much muck might accumulate in the stream beds and how much water and dirt is sitting in your gutters, bird baths, flower pots, saucers, and other common items outside your house. Many mosquitoes that are prevalent in New Jersey in warm and wet conditions, while others favor cooler temperatures and long and dry spells in between big rainstorms. According to weekly reports filed by country mosquito control agencies, this mosquito was found in huge numbers in early May in several parts of New Jersey, particularly the Delaware River Basin, the Delaware Bayshore region, and the Pinelands. And according to Scott Cranes, with all the factors changing frequently, it is tough to predict whether this summer is going to be a good summer with mosquitoes or a bad summer with mosquitoes. The amount of mosquitoes in New Jersey may have this summer depends on how much rain it doesn't depend on how much rain we get. It depends on the timing of the rain and when we get this rain. So I guess if the rain comes at like a time where it's like super warm, like as of tomorrow it's going to be like 98 degrees, I'm sure that's going to be like, if it were to rain, it'd be a very bad day with mosquitoes.
Right. I mean, even later in the week, it's supposed to be rainy, and then the temperatures, I'm looking at the weather app right now, at least, well, this is from Manalapan, so I don't know, I'm going to switch it to Montclair, but I assume it's going to be roughly the same. Yeah. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's all a chance of rain. And then the temperatures are 90, 79, 72, 73. So that doesn't sound good. Like the more 70s seem fine. That's not too warm, but rainy and 90, according to Patrina, what you said, that sounds like, big mosquito possibility. And no, I can't. I hate it.
Like I'm a big fan of summer, but when it comes to mosquitoes, I'm like, oh no, because my backyard, I have like a creek, and so that's all the mosquitoes. That's like a mosquito like homeland, you know what I mean? And so it's like, it's horrible. And I'm just hoping that it'll lighten up a little. I know in my town, at least, I live in West Caldwell. They had some like that, those helicopters come around and like spray the area for mosquitoes.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, but it didn't really help, honestly. And I know, and like other people were complaining about it, and so it's like, I hope there's like another way to fix it, but it's just
And not to mention, this comes after, of course, the cicadas and the ticks and the spotted lanternflies. And as somebody like me who just doesn't like bugs in general, not really my thing. This is why I prefer like fallish winter time, when the temperature is more moderate and there are less bugs out and inside, because bugs for some reason love to get into the house, and I don't get why, but I digress. This isn't fun. I don't know exactly how bad the mosquito problem is in my town of Manalapan, but they're just not any mosquito is not fun to have around.
Yeah, no, I know, like when I'm going outside, especially at nighttime when it's warm and humid, that's when I'll get all bit up. Otherwise, like, throughout the day I'll get bit here and there, and it's like, here we go. And it's just I know right now I have a few mosquito bites. It's like, but I think a lot of dampness that I personally, I think it's been raining more than usual.
It's definitely been very rainy this last month. I will say that. And the temperatures have been fluctuating all over the place. It's been like 90 one weekend, 60 the next. It's crazy. I get summer doesn't technically start till the 21st and all, but still usually the weather's getting progressively warmer. It's not bouncing up and down like a roller coaster.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it's never so like all over the place when it comes to the
Right.
weather in summer. Like yeah, there's gonna be the rainy days, but like sometimes I'll check the weather app and it's like rain for 4 days in a row, and I'm like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, exactly. Later this week, 4 days of
Yeah.
possibly consecutive rain. Campbell, what are your thoughts on mosquitoes?
Well, as personal experience, the worst mosquito bites to get are on your hand, and you would constantly have to see that lump and scratch it, and then it goes red,
Yeah.
or you would just feel probably in the back of your leg, and that's also the worst ones to get. But also, I mean, the other day it was so hot out, so humid. I interned for the Jackals here on campus,
Oh, okay.
so and it was just dark clouds, and then the rain was pouring in literally for like good solid 5 minutes, and then stopped and started raining again. It was just so humid, and like it was so gloomy and humid. It was just bad weather, and
Right.
unfortunately we're gonna get bad weather up in Montclair. I think it's gonna be 90 on Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's gonna
97
be
or
very
something.
bad. It's like, and then all these like little critters. I know Kyle, you're not a fan of it, but it's they're gonna probably no. So I mean, it's stressful. I mean, like the weather, it's going up and down, and of course, it's New Jersey.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
unpredictable. So
Right.
Oh
we're,
yeah.
we can have rain, we can have snow, we can have sleet, we can have cold days, hot days, very scorching hot days. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's the perk of the state that we live in.
that is
Oh
true.
yeah. I
I
don't know.
mean, yeah, go ahead, Patrina.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that like I feel like it's been mostly rain rather than like any like coldness or whatever. I mean, there was a few cold days here and there, but I really like summer, but not when it comes to all these mosquitoes and stuff.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't know the
Yeah.
weather.
But I, for one, I wish everybody luck this summer with the mosquito and stuff. But moving on, do you guys remember when we talked about the removal of the unemployment aid from for the unemployment? Well, in one of the states, they did that, and a few others, or actually, I shouldn't say a few others, more than half the country. Soon, 26 states will be removing the federal unemployment aid. And uh, in states that have done it already, like Missouri, they're finding it hard to fill jobs regardless. So, despite cutting off the federal unemployment benefits, employers are still having trouble filling job positions. Governor Mike Park Governor Mike Parson made Missouri one of the first states to cut off federal unemployment aid due to complaints from companies that claimed that the aid, quote, incentivized people to stay out of the workforce, end quote. After ending the $300 supplement, workforce officials said they hardly saw an increase in applications submitted, and the online job finding site Indeed noted that in areas that ended the unemployment aid, views for job listings fell below the national average. Although 9.3 million people were unemployed in May, there's major speculation into finding why employers are still finding it so difficult to find employees. Economists don't believe that the unemployment benefits played an overly substantial role, but rather point the finger at childcare and health concerns, since less than 50% of the US population has been fully vaccinated to date. Angelic Hobart, a client service manager at American Staffing, said, quote, they know how in demand they are, and I think it's being taken advantage of. And yeah, end quote. But on the other hand, Terry Waters, who was looking for a high-level job, said she appreciated those who worked in the more low-earning positions. Terry said, quote, it's really demanding work. You're on your feet, and by the end of the day, you're tired and sore. It's not that people are being lazy. They want something better to go back to, end quote. So there's a bit of a split here, like we saw in our first story, but this time between employers and employees. Employers are saying, "Oh, because of all this money people were getting, they don't want to go back to work anymore because they're getting paid more to stay home than they would at work." Meanwhile, the employees are saying, "Not really. We just, from experience now, we know that what we're doing is not being properly compensated for lack of a better term." So you have the employers looking very hard to find people, but you have employees or possible employees saying, we want to go back, but just not under what it's been. We want changes. And one of those major changes is maybe more of the wage. However, another quote from Angelic Hobart, I believe, yes, she said, some people are just expecting more pay than what their skill should allow. So it's many different points here that we have to look at to see why unemployment is still a problem despite and this and I should say the article said, the New York Times article said, that it's like this month and next month that the unemployment benefits are being disbanded. So it is still a relatively short amount of time since this happened that we're looking at these stats, but still there's a lot of points to look at when wondering why unemployment is still so prevalent despite federal aid being taken away.
Right. I mean, yeah, like it's definitely, I'm sure it's very hard for people right now to find jobs. I mean, there are a lot of jobs right now that are hiring and are desperate for these people, but yeah, I'm the people that need a job and are under unemployment are like, I guess what they're doing right now is fine. Like they're happy, like, being home, being paid, and then
Right.
like some people don't always have the skill for any job, and it's like, it's hard to find a job for them, but um I don't know. I mean, it's definitely kind of a step. I mean, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to take a step forward to try to get people employed, but then again, like, I don't know. It's very tough right now.
Right, exactly. And I think it's, well, I can, like, when I read about, like, I always thought, like, yeah, the unemployment, why would people work for less money when they're being paid a substantial amount more to stay home? But
Right.
I can see why there are other factors why, even though that's taken away, people still don't want to go back. I mean, less than 50%. I looked this morning, it's like 46.6% of all of America is actually fully vaccinated. It's a little higher for those with at least one dose, but actually fully vaccinated, two shots, whatever, is less than 50%. So, and I in Jersey, we were very not paranoid, but like concerned about this virus from the start. So I've been around people who are still very wary of this whole thing. And to multiply that on a national scale, I can see why a lot of people are like, I want to work, but I'm just not ready to go back yet. I want this to calm down just a little bit more before, you know, going back to the daily grind of 9 to 5 or whatever it is.
No, yeah. I mean, it's understandable, honestly. I mean, hopefully everything can go back to normal quite soon. Because, I mean, yeah, there's people that are weary about, like, just the vaccine, and then there's people weary about just, like, people that don't have the vaccine, and, like, people that are just worried about the virus in general.
Right.
And it's like, there's so many things to worry about right now. But, it's like also, I, it's like, I don't know, these workplaces, they're not I feel like people are expecting more than they should, or it depends on the job, I guess, but like
Right.
they do need something to like help them, cuz like going from not doing anything at home, like I mean obviously they could be doing something, I don't know, but I'm just saying being at home and getting paid
Right.
rather than going somewhere doing actual work and being paid less, I feel like this needs a step up, that it kind of needs like, I don't know. They need to encourage people with money, and I feel like that's one of the only ways they can do it.
Right. I think I'm like split on this. Like I
Right.
think there needs to be a little bit of like reform from employers, like a little bit more them putting in, but I also do think it is a slight bit of entitlement and people going, "Oh, I deserve this amount of money," and meanwhile, all they're doing is like, I don't know. Let's say hypothetically, it's a McDonald's employee, and they're like, "I want 30 an hour." I don't know, but all they're doing is flipping burgers that with proper training, anyone can do for whatever price the company sets. So I think, like I said, I think the employers could put in a little bit more to help. Like, and you also have to keep in mind that these employers, at least the ones still in business, went through this pandemic. So they probably just don't have stacks of money to hand out. They're probably struggling just as much to find employees as they are to supply these employees with the financial compensation that they were promised. So yes, it'd be nice if they would, like, I think more people would be incentivized to work if they bumped up their payment a little more. But on the other hand, you have to wonder if they can afford to do that.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're definitely right. And there definitely needs to be a line drawn between like to like kind of settle. But yeah, you're right. Like there are people that are going to expect like a lot, like $30 an hour for flipping burgers. That's definitely much.
Yeah, that was way too high when I said it. I know.
Oh no, yeah, but like that was an example. But I'm saying like, if that were to ever happen, like the like people getting whatever they're getting paid an hour, if it was bumped up to so much, prices are gonna go up like crazy.
Right, inflation stuff.
Yeah, and it's just gonna keep going up, and it's like you're gonna go buy a pack of gum for like $10, and
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
no.
We don't want to get to that point, but
yeah.
Then again, they also need something to encourage them to go back to work. It's just like you said, like I'm also like kind of split on this. Like it's definitely a difficult situation because you're not going to satisfy everybody, but then again, you need something that will like satisfy a lot of them.
Right.
I guess. I don't know.
And now, are either of you actually working, like, or have been working like during the pandemic, or like got a job this summer or whatever?
I've been working for 4 years at Starbucks, so
nice. Right, I forgot you mentioned that in the past.
Yeah, no, I've been working through the pandemic. It's been I don't know how it works for unemployment and stuff, but I know that we got pay for leave like when the pandemic first started. There was for when we were supposed to work, we got like an average of how many hours we usually work, and that's how we got paid. So
oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Campbell, what do you think? Do you think this falls on the problem of, or this falls on the backs of the employers or the employees?
I think it can go different both ways. I loved your exaggerated example of $30 an hour to flip burgers.
I mean, it'd be nice, but it's just a dream.
But if employees want more, they can, but also like you have to fight for the unemployed people that like were just stuck at home and just wanted to like pay for their families and stuff that weren't able to work. So, and also like I myself, like I didn't like work during the pandemic. Well, technically I did because I worked last year as an internship, but like I wasn't paid because I was an intern.
Right. Yeah.
Then this year I'm doing the same thing again as an intern, but I'm not getting paid. So
right. Yeah.
I'm just learning as I go. So
right. And you do bring up a good point. It's I at least didn't consciously take into account that like the people who couldn't work during the pandemic and stuff, like not just out of choice now, but like they physically, like they people who lost their jobs and couldn't find a new one, stuff like that, and who had to like provide for their families and stuff. That's a good point to bring up. And I think that's another reason why like there needs to be something from the employers to just like give a little bit more of a push to these to those unemployed that are looking for a job. Because and we're classifying them all as unemployed, but there I definitely think there is a difference. There is those who are actively trying really hard to look for a job, and then there's others that are just like, yeah, I'll take it if it comes, but like I'm not gonna try to look for one.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah. So I definitely think there needs to be a little more incentive from employers to like help those people actually trying like give them a little more of a push that they need. But I also think some employees or possible employees can like dial back their expectations a little bit.
Yes, definitely. There will be, and eventually there will be some line drawn that they're both gonna have to, whether they like it or not. It's something that they'll do. The employers will do to help like the unemployment to like potentially hire them and satisfy their needs in a way that it could satisfy their needs to like, I guess, to a point. It's not gonna fully satisfy them, like I said, but it's something to help.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we are going to take a short break here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. And when we come back, we are going to be talking about New York City's Pride Month activities. Stay tuned, and we will be right back on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
Hey, you're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, where music stays cool. Cooler than a dog on a skateboard. Okay, I take that back, but we're still pretty cool.
And welcome back to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, the Monday edition of the Summer Morning Buzz. I will always have to watch my steps saying that because it is so confusing for some reason. Anyway, I am your host, Kyle Pepitone, joined today with my co-host, Patrina Geiger, and our sportscaster, Campbell Donovan. Patrina, what happened recently in New York City for Pride Month?
Awesome. Thank you, Kyle. So, due to the pandemic, the annual Pride Parade in New York City was held virtually for the second time in a row due to the pandemic. But there were still people that showed up in New York City anyway to spread their pride. The main New York City Pride Parade usually draws throngs of participants and spectators, and that was presented as a television broadcast, and they lifted the pandemic restrictions while they were still in effect at the time it was being planned. The Pride Fest is an event in Manhattan for people who celebrate their pride, and they served food, there's entertainment, vendors, music, and even a dance party. A man named Sean Gannon from Maplewood, New Jersey, attended the Pride Parade with his husband and two of his 3-year-old sons, and told WCBS that, quote, "It is such an important thing for them to see that they have two dads and that there are other people that have two moms, two dads, and single moms." So basically, the main Pride Parade that they'll usually have was canceled. Well, not technically canceled, but it was just held virtually, and I don't think, and there was a thing going around like cancel Pride and all that, but people weren't exactly like happy about it because it's now that like people are vaccinated and all that, it's like they're not, they're like, why hold it virtually? Like, I understand there are some people that that are comfortable going into the city just yet, even like especially people that maybe aren't vaccinated right now. They're not comfortable with going into the city, that's fine. I mean, they could have had like a virtual option and like an in-person option, do something like that, but
doing it fully virtually is that's some 2020 stuff right there. We're past that. We have options now. And exactly. But you bring up a good point. It is weird that like it's weird because Jersey is technically not done with this, obviously, but masks are no longer mandated in most places unless stated otherwise. All like restrictions and limited capacity has been lifted as well. And, it's weird because I never thought through the whole pandemic, I never thought Jersey would be first to like lift everything. I always thought New York would be first and Jersey would follow. And it's not registering with me that New York still has these restrictions in place. Because I was in the city this weekend and like mask and stuff inside or for most places were still like a requirement, regardless as if, you were vaxxed or not. And it is weird to see that. But like, for the most part, like you were said, people, a majority of people are vaxxed and stuff. Not technically a majority country nationwide, but I think over 50% in New York, or at least they're nearing that 50% mark, have been fully vaxxed. And so to not give the option to have this in person or online seems weird, almost like counterproductive. Like, you should, like, if you don't feel safe going outside and to parties or whatever, okay, you have this option. But for the people who do, like you said, people showed up anyway, go ahead. I mean, if you're safe, there shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, and the thing is that we're all like, I feel like everyone's pushing for normalcy now, and so to have it fully virtual like that, that's not necessarily looking good for the state of New York being like, oh yes, no masks here and whatnot, because like it's like, oh, you're pushing for normalcy, but it's like looking at this, holding it all virtually, very odd. But there was another New York City Pride parade, so they have like several, but the
Okay.
other one, yeah. So the other one they had was like in person, and people still showed up, and there was a television broadcast special and all that. So that worked out well. But I mean, just for that one, like, I guess, like, parade to like kind of not be like
In person.
like in person, yeah, thank you. Like, not be in person, it was just like, so it's so odd, because then again, like I said, pushing for normalcy, but you're gonna hold it all virtual. It just doesn't
Right.
make any sense.
Yeah, actions speak louder than words. You can say, "Hey, we're doing our best to get everything back to the way it's running," and then if you shut down everything on not Main Street, Broadway, is that like an actual? I don't know the city too well, so I don't know if like Broadway is an actual like span of blocks or if it's just the show place. You can see how inept I am at city geography, but I'll try this again. They can say, "Oh, we're trying to get back to normal as fast as possible," and then shut down everything in Midtown, which I know is a place. It's contradictory to what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't really make any sense, honestly. But I don't know, like, especially since I'm sure when they planned it, it was like, they're like, oh yeah, summertime, and they knew about vaccines and all that. So
Right.
what would be the point of not holding it in person rather than holding it virtually when they knew, oh, there's going to be vaccines and it's summertime, so like it's not necessarily like a sick kind of season.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So
I was just going to say that. Like, they said, "Oh, COVID cases are dropping," but maybe that's only because we're in the summertime and we should still be concerned for winter. But like, basically what you're saying is everything about them putting this virtually makes no sense.
yeah. So, but I mean, as long as they got to actually celebrate, I'm glad they actually got to celebrate, and there was another parade with like fun activities and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Right before
that's
the
always
end
good.
too. Right before the end
Yeah.
of Pride Month.
Right. I think that's when they usually hold it. I think they usually do hold it like towards the end.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, there are also like other like, parades and stuff you can attend. But
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you're interested, there's always something to do. Campbell, do you have anything to add on this story? Like, do you have any insight into, obviously not insight because you're not like on the like New York City, I don't know, planning committee or something, but like, do you have something to say?
But like I think like I saw a bunch of like stories on social media of like people that I know who went to the Pride Parade that was like that they had in similar areas and stuff. And
Okay.
I think it's very very special to have people be very inclusive on everything
Right.
month and stuff, especially with the pandemic and also like the only time I had to wear a mask, I mean, like in the span of like 2 weeks was like going in an Uber and going on NJ Transit to the city.
Okay.
I literally took off my mask once I took the Long Island Railroad, and then that was it. So
Yeah.
I just don't understand why they would have fully virtually when have lifted most of your mandates in the city.
Exactly.
Mask mandates. Some of them are lifted, some of them are not. But like you said, I was genuinely shocked that New Jersey was the first kind of like lift everything. I guess
Right, exactly.
like fully lift everything and then remove the mask mandates. I mean, it's kind of like our thing. Like people are very jealous of us. So.
Yeah. And I don't remember exactly. Was it New York or New Jersey? The governor of New York or New Jersey who said when we go back in fall, there's going to be no online option.
Oh, it was Governor Murphy. It was New
Oh, it was
Jersey.
Murphy? Okay. I was going to say, because
Yeah.
if they say that, if like, I don't remember the name
Right.
of I always get the governor and mayor of New York.
Cuomo.
Thank you. That one.
Mhm.
If Cuomo said, hey, we're going back to school, no virtual option, and then did something like this, I get it's like 4 months difference, but it's still very weird that you would do something like this.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, just as long as they got to celebrate, it all works out. But then again, it's like, like, what's going on?
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, there's not much we can do about it. I mean, we can interrogate him maybe, but that's not going to.
I think there were like some protests. Don't like take me on that, but I think there were like protests about it. Like I know on social media I did see stuff like stuff about like don't cancel Pride and all that.
Yeah. I can understand why people would be upset about that.
Yeah, because I mean they did help. Like even so, they held tons of parades and protests throughout the pandemic when it was even bad. So
even the
while
worst
it's
months.
better, why would you even hold
exactly
it virtually? So
yeah. And moving on to our final story of the day. Recently, we talked about Jeff Bezos and his brother going to space, kind of, in their 11-minute trip as part of Blue Origin's space program, which is Bezos's private space company. However, a petition has surfaced online to make Jeff Bezos stay in space and now has over 130,000 signatures. So, according to CNBC, earlier this month, a petition was launched on change.org called Do Not Allow Jeff Bezos to Return to Earth, and as of this morning has boasted over 130,000 signatures. Rick Geiger told CNBC that he started the petition as a joke, but also said that it would allow him to reach a larger audience to spread awareness about wealth inequality. The wealthiest man on Earth, and soon-to-be former CEO of Amazon, Jeff Bezos and his private space company, Blue Origin, received criticism over the disproportionate amount of money he's earned versus the amount of taxes they've had to pay, in which it's been very little to none at some times. In 2020, 63% of Americans were living paycheck to paycheck during the pandemic, and many more were buried in student loans or medical debt. Geiger said, quote, "It's a slap in the face to watch billionaires like Bezos, Elon Musk, and Richard Branson play space race games with hordes of wealth." End quote. Bezos, on the other hand, has defended his funding in Blue Origin, saying, quote, "We humans have to go to space if we are going to continue to have a thriving civilization. We have become big as a population, as a species, and this planet is relatively small. We see it in things like climate change and pollution and heavy industry. We are in the process of destroying this planet, and we have sent robotic probes to every planet in the solar system. This is the good one. So we have to preserve this planet." End quote. So despite the Blue Origin trip in July being only like roughly 11 minutes, like right out of the threshold that is scientifically considered Earth, people would rather see Amazon's CEO to just stay up there. And I mean, I get the joke and stuff, and it's kind of funny and stuff, but I go back to the reason I'm thinking about this is because when we were talking about it, there were like other people who like bet money. I don't know if they bet money, but they had an auction. That's what it was. They had an auction of like, not civilians, but like people who go along with him. So like, are they going to have to stay up there too? Or is like Bezos going to get his own little space pod and just drift around the planet for a few years?
Yeah, it's quite funny and quite interesting because there's so many signatures now. What if they decide to do something with this petition? You know what I mean? It's like,
Right. But
mm,
I mean, I don't know, like I've never used change.org, so I don't know if like the default goal is 150,000 because all the petitions I've seen usually for more like meme stuff or like joke stuff has always been 150,000 goal. Yeah, 150,000 goal. So I don't know if that's like what change.org automatically sets it to or something, but
yeah,
150,000 is relatively small for something of this scale. Even Rick Geiger said, like, I doubt anything like this would even become a blip on Bezos's radar because, like, it's definitely is reaching a pretty big amount of people. Like 130,000 so far is still a lot of people, regardless of what, like, I don't know the word, but like, regardless of what, like, pool of sampling pool you're taking from. But, it's different because he like I said before, he's the wealthiest man on earth right now. So he's all the way up here, and then like this petition is like somewhere around here maybe.
yeah. No, it's definitely something interesting, and obviously, like you said, like this kind of scale of like this petition is like, I mean, 130,000 is quite small for the
Right.
audience they're trying to reach, but I mean, I could. What if it does go somewhere? That would be interesting.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
definitely. If this like actually like he notices it and he's like, well, I don't know Bezos at all. I don't know if he's got like a sense of humor or something. I don't know like what percentage of the 130,000 signatures are dead serious about this or signing it as a joke. So I don't know really what Bezos' reaction would be if he saw this or what other people's reaction would be to Bezos' reaction, depending on what it is. But the question I want to ask, because I think this was the most interesting part of the article, do you agree with either what Geiger said or what Bezos said? Geiger being the, hey, maybe they shouldn't be playing these rocket games with all their money, and Bezos saying, and this could go alongside Elon Musk and Richard Branson as well, like saying, hey, as a species, we got to essentially get out of here because we don't have much longer here. So, which side are you on? Either of you?
Honestly, for me, I'm not sure if I necessarily have a side
Right.
because I mean, then again, I there is definitely more to explore in space that we don't know about, and so what if one day like it'd be so weird to I mean weird, but like potentially it could happen for people to like create life on another planet, and that's like a whole different thing. But then what if like what if it's just not worth it, and
Right.
because personally I don't know enough to like really say like, oh yes, this is worth it and this is not, but like I don't know, I just feel like it could be something really great to like explore, but then again I'm sure they're spending like millions and but maybe even billions on like trying to research something that's
Right.
like, there are other things that we should worry about on this planet that we should be using money for, like
Oh
all that
yeah.
for. And so, like, I get it. Maybe it's for a good cause, but then again, it's like, what if there's other things that we should be worrying about on our own planet right now?
Yeah. That's definitely a
So,
good point.
yeah, I'm basically split.
Yeah, I think most people would be because like, yeah, the climate change and everything is a problem we have to deal with now. And but at the same time, not everything that Bezos, Musk, and Branson are doing is for philanthropical needs. I think that's how you say it. So yeah, I think most people would be split on this and rather than take one side. But that is all the time we have today. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope you all have a great rest of your Monday. This has been the Monday Morning Buzz. I have been Kyle Pepitone, joined with Patrina Geiger and Campbell Donovan. We will be back next week on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Have a great day.